Hello to all, and welcome to University Career Services virtual workshop entitled Your First Steps with UCS. My name is Stephanie McIntyre. I am the Associate Director of University Career Services, and I am happy to work through this content with you today. I'll talk a little bit about what is on our agenda. We're going to hear from Amber Lawrence of the Select Group this morning. So the first thing we'll do is some introductions. We'll talk about University Career Services role. We'll talk about some ways in which you can gain self-awareness through experiences right now. And I'll direct you to some resources that can support those initial steps. And then I'll turn it back over to Ms. Lawrence so that she can share some more details of the Select Group and her perspective of the recruiting process and how you can prepare right away. So again, my name is Stephanie McIntyre. I am the Associate Director within UCS, and I'll be happy to support this process today by answering questions and sharing information about UCS and directing you to schedule an appointment with myself or a member of our career counseling team. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Amber. Amber, tell us a little bit about yourself, the Select Group, and your perspective on new and emerging professionals preparing for the world of work.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's definitely great to be able to talk with you all and hopefully be able to share some helpful insights about this topic. My name is Amber Lawrence. I'm the Campus Relations Manager at the Select Group. So the Select Group is a technical services firm. We offer staffing, professional services, project-based resources to IT clients. So really through this consultative approach, we're supporting technology initiatives that clients have in various different vertical spaces. So my role specifically is to come and recruit awesome students like yourselves and help out with the professional and personal development piece too. I know right now the world looks a little different, so kudos to you for tuning into this and wanting to develop yourself right now. I think there is a little bit of a false narrative that people aren't hiring, internships aren't happening, but that's definitely not the case. There are employers who are hiring. They want to talk to you. They want to bring you on their team as they grow. So hopefully today I can help with, giving some insight from that point of view and being able to help get you guys a little bit more excited about that professional development that you're doing right now.
Great. Thank you so much for that content, Amber. And we look forward to hearing a bit more from you after we talk a bit about UCS. Let's refer you to a few of our resources and exactly how you can navigate our site. Careers.unc.edu is where you want to go to for an abundance of information about career services, up-to-date information about resume writing, interviewing, and much, much more. When you go to career services, as you see with this graphic in front of you, you would want to click on resources. From there, we can support you in unveiling a lot of information about different platforms that you can use to prepare for the job search, interviewing, resume writing, and much more. When you click on that link, you're going to find a lot of those resources. As you embark upon your journey in just a few steps as you engage with UCS for the first time, I wanted to highlight two in particular. That first one is Focus 2. Focus 2 is an academic to career planning tool that you can do on your own independently, and you can access that through that part of our website. You would answer a series of questions that will then be able to give you a self-report that can unveil things such as your preferences and your interests. Those preferences and interests can align with different academic majors of study at UNC. And then what we can do from a UCS perspective is then unveil how many of those academic majors align with different career path options. So one of your first steps would be to definitely take advantage of taking that Focus 2 on your own. In a few future slides, I'm also going to show you how to navigate a few basic functions of Handshake, but I wanted to at least take this moment to introduce what Handshake is. Handshake is our online career management portal. It's where us as career services professionals go in to post all of our events and virtual workshops, such as the one right now. We put that on Handshake so that you can plan ahead and see what our offerings out are. This is also the platform where employers go, such as Amber, to post upcoming internship and job opportunities. And Handshake is also the platform that you, as a current student at UNC, already have access to. You access it by way of your Onion and password, and you're able to schedule an appointment with a member of our career counseling team to jumpstart your thought processes. So after the first time you take Focus 2, you would want to schedule an appointment with a career counselor so we can talk about some of those details. So what are some of the other ways that UCS can assist you? Well, by way of some self-awareness that you can start to tap into through taking the Focus 2. You can identify your interests, skills, and values that will then facilitate some broad exploration of your academic interests and how that may align with different workplace interests. And then what we can then do is then support you by identifying the right resources, meaning online platforms, or directing you to our workshops or other career events. We have a wide array of career fairs that are coming up this semester that are still just as valuable for someone who is new to engaging with UCS. And then also putting you in contact with recruiters such as Amber that can support you in just giving you perspective of not only her specific company, but job hiring processes as a whole and the recruiter perspective. As we think about some initial things that you can do to plan for your future, I wanted to bring to your attention that we think from a 4-year or a 4 steps model to career success. As you embark on your career journey, the first step is self-awareness. You want to be able to answer as much as possible about yourself. What do you like? What are you interested in? And what do you do well? What do you do well in? In addition to that, we can then jumpstart you learning more about other career opportunities, gain experiences on or off campus, maybe having an internship. And I'm sure Amber will talk a little bit more about the value of interning and gaining work experience, and then how you can market yourself moving forward for different types of paths. So Amber, I'm going to turn it back over to you to maybe get some more perspective of specifically your organization. And then broadly, what are some first steps that you would consider invaluable for new students, all college students to really think about as they embark upon maybe an internship or a job opportunity?
Yes, absolutely. So I think a big thing for me when I think about just beginning to reach out to companies and networking, especially right now, right? The world looks a little different than networking and recruiting used to. It's all really virtual. So my first and foremost, tip or word of advice would be if you do not have a LinkedIn, definitely get a LinkedIn. Handshake is amazing too. I think that your LinkedIn and your Handshake should be really replicating one to the other, right? Fill it out just like you would a full-on resume, because not only is that going to set you up for when you're reaching out to companies, they can see every experience you have and what you're interested in, but also people can find you when you're not even knowing that they're looking, right? As a campus relations manager and recruiter at the Select Group, I'm looking at resumes, Handshake profiles, LinkedIn profiles all day, every single day. I'm reaching out to people who maybe haven't applied, but I'm seeing things that are standing out to me, right? Like involvement in school, on campus, being involved in different student organizations. Maybe it's an internship. Those are definitely great experiences. I also see a lot of value in if you have a part-time job, right? Or whatever it is, everybody's in a little bit of a different situation, but whatever you're doing, whatever experience you're gaining, like highlight that, make sure you're selling that and putting that on these digital resumes and platforms that recruiters are looking at, because that's going to help you really set yourself apart. But also, I think being able to go and actually reach out to these recruiters of companies that you're excited about. I love when a student reaches out to me and is like, hey, I saw you either on a presentation or I've done research on your company, and this is an organization I definitely would love to be a part of. That excitement and that interest and that initiative that you're taking, reaching out and asking questions, is going to be something that really gets me excited as a recruiter. It's going to make me want to reach out and have more conversations. So I think that's always a good place to start. Like, don't be afraid to reach out. Not every day, right? You don't want to, be too forward, but I think expressing interest is definitely okay.
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Amber. So tell me a little bit about your perspective of maybe first or second year students attending career fairs. And we know over the past couple semesters they've been virtual. Um, but if it's a first year student that may say, I don't have enough experience yet, I'm really not pursuing an internship or a job, is there value in them still being in communication with you?
Absolutely. So whenever I'm at a career fair or, first or second year student reaches out to me, I'm impressed that they're already taking that initiative and wanting to start network. Whenever I'm thinking about a position or an internship that we're hiring for, my brain is immediately going to those students I've met on campus, those students that I've had conversations with that have stood out by taking that initiative or, reaching out to me, telling me they're interested or what they're looking for. So I think even though it might be a little bit more difficult, right, as a first or second year student to get internships, it's definitely not impossible. But I think by putting yourself in front of employers more and more, that's going to make it easier and make it more of a connection and partnership with that employer of your interests as you continue to go into junior, senior year. They're going to be thinking of you first for those internships because you already have a relationship that you've started to build.
Yeah, great. What is appropriate follow-up? So we always talk to students about extending yourself, networking, but don't be too forward. So tell me a little bit more from your perspective when students have an interest in a position, maybe they've already applied and they just want to follow up with you. What is appropriate ways to communicate that to you?
Yeah, I think a great way is, if you are on LinkedIn, sending a connection with a short little note. Hey, just applied to this job, wanted to connect and just express my interest. Maybe you are seeing an employer at an event like this, a workshop, you meet them at a career fair. A quick connection with a short and sweet little note to them is a great way to just kind of bridge that gap and start that communication, remind them that you're interested, remind them of who you are. I also think an email is totally fine. I think what you want to steer clear of is, and it's kind of funny, this is a true story. It's 2021, we all have caller ID, right? There have been instances where I will get 5 calls back to back from the same person. And as a recruiter, that's a bit much, right? You're like,
Wow.
yeah. So, I don't know that anybody's thinking of doing that, but it happens, right? Like that's one of those things that it is important to talk about because you want to make sure you're creating a good, first impression after you're meeting them. That follow up is important. So I think it's okay to, if you apply, send an email, let them know that you've applied, just reiterate that interest and your experience of why you feel like you'd be the best candidate. And then if you're not hearing back in like a week or two, I think it's okay to send a follow up. We're all human. Nobody's perfect. Sometimes things slip through the cracks. Recruiters are talking to a lot of people. So I've definitely been guilty of accidentally opening an email, not responding, and forgetting about it afterwards. So don't feel discouraged if you reach out just once and you're not hearing back. Give them a little grace to maybe send another follow-up, because hopefully, they're going to at least give you something, right? At least give you, thank you for reaching out, kind of start that conversation, let you know where they're at with the interviews or, where the hiring process is at in that time. So I think, waiting about a week or two and sending a quick follow-up, hey, not sure if you got my last message, just wanted to connect with you again, is totally appropriate.
Great. All right. I've mentioned the value, especially for students' first steps engaging with career services or their entire journey as a whole, their first steps in their career planning, is to really think about their own self-awareness. What are they interested in? What do they do well? Why are they attracted to certain types of majors or coursework? And what do they think that may mean as far as their long-term journey? Give me your perspective on the types of conversations you've had with students that really demonstrate their ability to communicate their self-awareness and their interest as it relates to your organization.
Yes, great question. So I think that's a great thing to be thinking of, especially from, first year on. I love that that's something that you guys are promoting, because there is a huge difference in a candidate coming into an interview with me and being like, I am passionate about sales. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. I'm competitive. I like the opportunity that I can earn commission. Somebody coming in and saying that versus someone coming in and saying, well, I've thought about sales and, why not? Right? That selling of yourself is going to come out so different. And at the end of the day, that's what you're doing in an interview, is selling yourself. Why are you the best fit for the role? Why is it something that you're interested in? Companies want to hire people who want to work there, right? So if you come in with that awareness of, hey, this is a job that I'm confident I want to do, that I'm going to do well, and the reasons I'm going to do it well are XYZ, and your company is exciting to me because of XYZ, right? That is going to be a much stronger interview, and somebody I'm like confident, yes, if we hire this person, like, they're coming in, they're willing to learn, they're excited to be in this environment. And don't be discouraged, I guess, too, if you don't know 100% what you want to do, right? That's totally normal as well. And I think with the job market, a lot of people are more open, and that's okay. I think it's just making sure that you're being really aware of how you're selling that in interviews, how you're talking about that. I think wording is really important in that situation. You never want to be like, hey, I'm applying to this because, other jobs I'm applying to aren't really working out,
Mhm.
right? An employer is going to be like, well, as fun as being a backup plan sounds, no thank you, right? Like, you want
Yeah.
to just be really conscious of how you're selling that and how you're communicating that.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for sharing that. I heard you emphasize sales, and I know that may be a lot of what you're recruiting. And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, students will think of different organizations or different types of positions and think that you may be only looking for one major, possibly a business school student. Tell me a little bit about your perspectives of the different values and character traits and skill sets that students from different majors bring, and how do you look at that when you're recruiting for different types of positions?
Great question. And I think, I always tend to go towards sales, because I'd say probably about 80% of our workforce is sales. That's a big part of our organization, but definitely not to be confused that there are opportunities for internships and entry level and other pieces of our organization too. We're headquartered here in Raleigh, so we have all of our back, corporate office types of roles, departments that are also hiring for those. So excuse me if I'm just staying on the sales tangent, but you're exactly right. For all of these roles, major for me in recruiting for the select group is not a make or break. We have sales professionals and professionals in other departments that are a wide range of major. I think it really does come down to more of those soft skills that we're looking for. We are a high performance organization. So to me, that means, always looking to how to set a new goal for that day. How do you continue to raise the bar? How do you challenge yourself to always want to improve, learn new things, continue to get better every day? And that's big within our culture, just personal and professional growth, wanting to always continue to push yourself and encourage others around you to keep making strides in that area. So we look for a lot more of those soft traits. Are you working? Are you doing things on campus? What are you doing outside of just school and academics? Looking at the big picture there, student athletes, people that are leaders within organizations, all of those things are definitely things that stand out. Not to say if you're not doing those, it's not good either, right? Those I think are just things that initially come to mind for me that stand out, but I definitely am more concerned with those relationship building skills. Are you interested in that type of high performance organization? Is that something that you're passionate about too? Because that's going to make someone more successful than, hey, were you, in this specific major? Because we can't teach somebody to come in and want to hit goals and want to hit metrics and be driven and motivated by that. But we can teach someone how the sales life cycle works and how to have conversations with these different hiring managers. So we focus more on those soft skills for sure.
Very valuable information. And while this isn't a workshop specifically to get into the details of resume writing, when you're talking about these types of experiences and the types of skills that are important in your process, tell me a little bit about what you're looking for and what needs to come through specifically on the resume, maybe different approaches that students can use, particularly when they have limited experiences, when they're earlier on in their career journey, and maybe they're looking for that internship, so they don't have a lot of previous experience behind them. How do they highlight effectively that leadership skill through experience on campus, or maybe they volunteered or had a part-time job? What are you really looking for when you see that resume?
Great question. I think, sometimes when working with students, I hear a lot of, if I don't have an internship, I don't have experience. And that's just false, right? Think about what you're doing in your classroom. What projects are you doing? Like you said, right? Volunteer work, any experience working on campus or being involved in campus organizations. Those are all things that are teaching you too. So I think it's getting out of the mindset of, hey, I don't have an internship, so I don't have experience, and coming in already kind of, not selling yourself, right? You're doing the opposite. You're kind of cutting yourself down. Instead, going into it more with that idea of, okay, this is the experience I have. How do I sell this to this individual role? Looking at what that role is requiring, what do they really want in their ideal candidate, and where have you gotten that experience so far, and selling it that way.
Thank you so much. We did have a question in the chat from earlier about the international student perspective. Tell me a little bit about how a new international student can start to navigate and chart out their path, particularly when internship and job opportunities may have different hurdles to go through if you are of international student status.
Yeah, so I think just networking and asking those questions, right? Every company has a different policy when it comes to that, or how they navigate that is different. So not letting it discourage you, because I'm sure it can if you're hearing a lot of companies aren't able to hire international students. That could definitely be discouraging, but still going to these career fairs, right? Still networking with employers at workshops and asking their policy on that. Is that something that they're able to do? Are they having interns from international students, being able to be a part of those as well, and just start learning from each company. I think that's something that's always changing too. I'll be honest, that's not my wheelhouse of all of the things that go into that, but I know our company is, passionate about trying to get into the space of offering that. Our founder was an international student. Somebody took a shot on him and gave him an opportunity to come, and now he's built this great company. So I think it's just reaching out to different companies and asking, what are your policies here? Is this something that you offer? And go from there.
That's great to hear that the possibilities are there. Amber, you mentioned a little while back about sometimes the false narrative that due to the pandemic, no one's hiring, that the job market has crashed. And while we can't predict the future of what may happen, unfortunately, we also within University Career Services continue to direct students to handshake, to make sure that they engage with our employer partners like you to learn just what is still out there and how jobs and opportunities continue to move forward. Tell me a little bit more perspective on that and advice that you are giving students around the job market as it currently is, where it may be easier to say, there's nothing out there, let me not attempt right now.
Yes, I think that's definitely something I'm hearing a lot from students. And I understand, right? That last summer, a lot of internships fell through, a lot of job offers fell through, and that can be really scary. Coming into a new year looking for internships or full-time roles after graduating, regardless of where you're at, there's that level of nervousness, right? After seeing what happened. So I definitely understand students being discouraged and maybe not being as motivated to network and be a part of the different professional and personal development workshops, things like that. But I think right now is the best time too, because again, back to the false narrative, companies are hiring. If they are going to a virtual career fair, they want to meet you, right? Like they have jobs that they want to meet students and hire for. And I think getting in that mindset of, hey, I'm not just coming here to check a box and say I went to the virtual career fair. I'm going to meet people who want to hire me, who want to talk to me. They're, financially invested in this, right? We kind of have to think of it that way of companies aren't just coming here to come here. They want to meet you guys, right? They want to meet awesome students at UNC that they could really see being valuable to their organization. So take advantage of it. And also maybe the company that you are really excited about isn't sure if they're hiring yet. Maybe it's up in the air. I think that's pretty common too, talking with other employers. It's a little too soon for May grads, whereas maybe before it wasn't. So just staying in contact with them, right? And asking, okay, what does that look like right now? When do you think you'll be hiring? How can I reach out and connect with you at that time to make sure I'm still excited and interested, and just staying on top of it, because I think the more you do that, like opportunities are there now, but they're also going to be coming as you get closer and closer to summer too. So take advantage of this time, make your resume the best it's ever been, do mock interviews, practice. So then when you are getting those interviews and you are talking to employers, you're ready to go. There's no lag time of, oh no, now I need to get a resume together, or I'm not super confident how to sell this skill. Practice it now so you're ready to go when those interviews do come up.
Wow, Amber, you're leaving us with some great, great advice. Thank you so much for that. We're going to circle back around to you before we conclude, because as some other folks jump on the line, I'm sure we can have a few minutes of Q&A to maybe address some things that we've missed. But as we continue to have this conversation about recruiting, as you've mentioned, what should be in the resume, how to really navigate, think about our virtual career fairs with an understanding that recruiters want to hear from UNC Chapel Hill talented students. This is a great segue to just take a few minutes to look at our handshake profile. I started off our presentation with a reminder of what Handshake is. It's our online career management portal that's accessible to all students enrolled in UNC Chapel Hill. So if it's your first time actually accessing the platform, you don't have to create a new profile. One already exists for you. So you would want to access that when you go to careers.unc.edu, and you'll be able to click on Access Handshake. It'll ask for your onion and password. So you would want to do that to access instead of attempt to create a new profile. Once you click on Handshake, you'll see that your platform will look like what it does on this screen. And I would just want to walk through a couple of features today, because we're really only talking about your first steps with career services today. And so as we talk about you taking the focus to career assessment, the next step would be to schedule an appointment with a career counselor. To do so, you would want to click right here where you see this red arrow on Career Center, which will then allow you to click on Appointments. When you click on this appointment feature, it will then it'll prompt you to schedule an appointment. Because we remain 100% virtual this semester, you would want to click on this bottom option. This is the option that will give you access to our centralized University Career Services student-facing team of career counselors. You would click on Virtual Distance Appointments. When you click on that, it'll give you the option to either schedule a Zoom appointment or a telephone appointment. And that could be for basic career counseling, resume writing, and for students a little bit further than just their first steps with UCS, they may be selecting a grad school or law school prep appointment or maybe a mock interview. For you in your first appointment, I would schedule a basic 30-minute or 60-minute career counseling appointment by Zoom or phone. I also wanted to address, since we brought up the concept of international students navigating internship and job opportunities. When you're meeting with a career counselor for the first time, that counselor will go through many more details and functionality about Handshake. You will be able to tailor your profile to all of your specific needs, whether that's a specific type of internship or job that you're looking for, company type, tied to a certain type of industry or major that aligns with a certain type of career field, and then region. Additionally, if you have international student status, you will be able to click on employment opportunities that align with your OPT or CPT needs. So again, these are more advanced features of Handshake that you will be able to access at another time. Since we do have a few people on the line, I'll take just a couple of minutes if anyone wanted to chime in that may have other questions about University Career Services and any of our resources and or support. Or we can turn any other questions back to Amber to get some further perspective from the recruiter's mindset. So we'll take a few seconds to see if anyone is interested in jumping in with questions.
Shit.
If no questions exist at the moment, I will bring your attention to this last slide. University Career Services continues to develop and share content on a daily basis. So please follow us on social media, where you will continue to find tips and reminders of upcoming workshops and career events for this spring semester. When you go to careers.unc.edu, also think about signing up for our Career Readiness newsletter. This features reminders again of our upcoming events, internship and job postings that'll direct you back to Handshake, as well as blogs and vlogs that we pull from our career management resources. What I will do is follow up with the attendees today with a short survey to be provided with your perspective of the content that myself and Amber delivered to you this morning. We thank you for your time, and we hope that this is giving you just a little bit more insight into some first steps that you can take on your career planning journey and how career services and our employer partners can be a part of that journey. We thank you for your time today.